Hello, welcome to Sketch Club. I'm Jason. This is Izzy.
Hi.
Back there is Cindy.
Hi.
So Sketch Club starts at 7, but what I like to do is take about 5 minutes before we get started. And for anybody new, introduce to you what's going on. And for those of you who aren't new, maybe give you some strategies to sketch. First off, I'd like to say there's no right way, there is no wrong way. I'll share with you what I'm doing. But again, the main thing is just to sketch and sketch without fear and sketch quickly. The sketches tonight will be 5 minutes, so you don't have very long to think about it. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing. Susan's here. Hey, Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Good
Hi.
to see ya. Good to see ya. All right, over to the iPad. And sorry this is showing up dark on the iPad, but basically it's a bunch of grapes and an orange. So rather than copying what we see, hello Shakti, what we're going to do is we're going to think about dark, light, gray, and then our fourth thing would be a little added highlight. So I would view these grapes as darks. Just overall, I would view the shadow dark on the orange. There's a nice cast shadow right here. And of course, there's a cast shadow here, right? Probably a good idea to try to get some negative space somewhere. I mean, you don't want 3 straight triangles there, so you might have to rearrange that. So that would be our dark. Our light would be here, the stem, and then our gray, or somewhere in between the value of the dark and the light, we would be right there, or background. And our fourth one would be highlight, bang, a couple on the grapes, and we'd be on our merry way. For our second one tonight, we're going to do a vase with some eucalyptus. Can you see how all of this is light? So let's look and draw these shapes, right? Rather than generic vase. For some of you guys who go, well, I can't see the shadow side. Well, all you need to do is see one side. If that side's like that, guess what? The other side's mirrored. They're mirror images of each other. So if you see one side, you see them both. Okay, again, we're not copying, but we're designing. Designing, designing, designing. In here, I would keep my dark on the vase and on the leaves. Might even do a cast shadow like that, cast shadow on the floor. And then number 3 value would be back here and on the tabletop. Okay? Let's see, how are we doing on time? I think we may make it.
6:58.
All right, and then some peach blossoms with a beautiful picture in here. Again, what you want is you want your objects to be both darker and lighter than what they're sitting on, or what we call the background. All right, so this will be darker than that, even if it's not what we see, but to get a good image. Okay, we have our highlights, and let's take a look at the last one before it's time for us to sketch. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Look at this beautiful light here. You got a couple highlights. We're going up, little flowers. You see that light just dancing, highlight, dancing, all the way up. Look at that. Little dance all the way up and down. Do you see that? How beautiful is that? Well, if you ask me, it's pretty dang beautiful. So, darks would be shadow, lights, what we pointed out, and grapes, And then background and table would be in between those values so we see them. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Like I said, if you want to do it another way, please have at it. Hello, Claudia. Good to see you. So we got Shakti here, and we've got Claudia here. So
Susan, Tom, Karen.
Susan, Tom, and Karen. All right, welcome. Well, it looks like it's 7 o'clock. Are you guys ready to sketch? Let's go, shall we? So like I said, there's 4 or 5 minutes. I think at least one time I forgot to set the timer, so we may be a few minutes over tonight. Okay, a simple one to get started with. Just an orange with some grapes. I like to mass in, kind of that mass of that whole orange. Then I can find the shadow on there. And then relate the grapes. Claudia's ready to go, go, go. Let's go, Claudia, let's go. And when I'm filming these, at least on this round, I didn't have a chance to warm up, so you're watching me warm up in real time. And that's part of it too, is you want to develop a way of working that gives you a chance to warm up. You don't want to have to go in there cold and do something critical. I could wreck the whole painting or the whole drawing. Start off slow. Get a feel for it. Get a feel for the crowd, for the paper, for the materials. Now that cast shadow wraps around that orange, but I like to give it a straight just to give a little more structure. And then as I said, I'm thinking about designing that negative shape under there more than I am really about drawing that grape. Because that negative shape is really going to catch your eye. And if some of you guys will remember from our last class, that's going to help define those grapes better than sticking them in front of another dark, right? We want to create excuses and ways so that those shapes can be defined, can be seen. And sometimes we want to keep things mysterious, where they're not so defined and so clear, right? And a good painting usually has both of those. A good painting or drawing, any good art, right? Art's not a bunch of facts and figures and dates, not at all. It's more of a feeling. What's going on, sweetie?
Hi, Janny.
Janny's here. Welcome, Janny. 4 5s tonight. We're starting off slow with just an orange and a few grapes. And remember, your eraser is a tool too to help you clean up. We got our dark on there. Let's get our highlight on there. So now we've got both ends of the painting, meaning we've got our dark value, we've got our highlights, right? And then we still have our light and our air or our background to deal with, right? Howdy. Howdy, howdy, howdy. That's hid somewhere, isn't it? I think it's hid behind us.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like Woody.
I'm sure people are just like, trying to watch us.
And then when you have a big mass like an orange, then the fine kind of almost linear nature of the stem, right? You see how that's a nice contrast from the grape shape, dark shapes, and from the shadow shape of the orange. It's still a dark, but the character of it's a little bit different. Okay? And in last class, we were talking about how if you have grapes on one side, then that stem should be one way. But then if you have leaves coming out, then maybe have those stems and everything be of a different nature, maybe longer and more graceful. And the grapes will be a little shorter and a little more jerky or jagged, right? What you want to do is you want to show differences, right? And within, even though you want to show differences, we still got to keep everything nice and harmonious. Harmony is always the goal, right? Ultimately. But tonight on 5 minutes, like we said, we're just making sure we're not afraid, getting out. I'm going to just throw some marks on a piece of paper, pen, junk mail, whatever. And again, just like taking a walk. It's just a matter of doing it. Just a matter of doing it. Izzy's doing it. She's hiding in the corner of the screen there. She likes to hide when she draws.
She's hiding in the big shadow.
Do you hide when you draw? Or do you are you out in public in the middle of everywhere? All right, that's it for that one. So, next we have a picture and some peach blossoms.
It's pretty.
Peach blossoms were from a Father's Day gift, being a peach tree. And the infamous Tom Dawson, for those of you who don't know, is quite a plant man. Quite a plant man. He showed me how to trim it up, and now it is a full, beautiful little tree. Mm-hmm. So, and every year we have beautiful peach blossoms that come over it.
That one year they just all disappear.
Yeah, well, we haven't gotten so many peaches out of it, but the birds and squirrels sure do enjoy them. So I'll just have to be a little quicker on the draw this year. All right, again, massing, and you see how I kind of get a feel for the whole thing, and then, oh, let's take it down a little bit, let's widen it, let's shorten it. And that way you're not under pressure to get a whole side right? But I like to work side to side more in a mat to keep symmetry. Make sure it's all being symmetrical. And as that lip turns out, that means it's turning away from the light. Right? So the contour can also help you determine where your light and shadow is.
Claudia said, I need Tom.
All right. Well, they're wanting you to come out of retirement, Tom. Want you to come out of retirement. I don't know, Claudia. You're in Cambria. You might be able to talk him into stopping by in Cambria. I know he's a sucker for the ocean. Tom is a sucker for the ocean. So,
aren't we all though?
Izzy says, aren't we all suckers for the ocean? I guess so. Some of us. Okay, you want to make sure that you're moving around the whole thing. Like even me, I'm getting a little caught up in little details here. And I see myself doing it, and I just realize, oh, I'm thinking wrong. All right, so are we relating this? What are we doing? So I'm thinking again about some negative shapes in those grapes to help define them. The stem to help say something. Maybe a little solo grape out here. And then in between those two piles, that pile of grape and that solo grape, we'll have some of those peach blossoms. I don't even know if they hardly show up this time.
They kind of do, but it's so hard.
Well, the peach blossoms, I mean, with the drawing. I don't know if I got to drawing them. Because sometimes you just run out of time. And again, don't be uptight about this. We're just doing what we're doing, right? If you've never sketched before, this is a real easy way to jump in and just start drawing. And then it's only 5 minutes, and then toss it away. Don't worry about it. You don't have to show it to your kids. You don't have to show it to your grandkids. You don't have to show it to your mom. Hey, Lori's here.
There's Mom. Hi, Mom.
So you have to show it to your kids and your mother-in-law.
And my mother-in-law. Hi, Lori. Lori had a little wonderful birthday celebration today. So that was nice.
Happy day after birthday.
Happy day after birthday, but day of celebration.
Yep.
So I'm surprised she has energy to be on here after all those tequila shots. That's a joke. That's a joke. So we're doing 4 or 5 minutes tonight. If you're just joining us, Lori. Four or 5 minutes. And notice how I did copy everything that was there, but I just took a few things. You partied, huh? Lori's saying she partied today. So good for you. Good for you. Oh, she still has a sense of humor. Good, 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 good. So I know she didn't party too hard because Izzy was with her. And Izzy would let us know. I think so. She's pretty good about saying everything that's on her mind, except between you and Grandma. Your lips are... That's the only time you can keep a little tight-lipped is, hey, what are you and Grandma up to? Oh, nothing.
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 Oh, and about that parting, I'll have to tell you a story after the broadcast.
Oh, okay. Wow. She's in 6th grade and already has stories that can't be said on air, so that's a little scary.
Oh, it was just a little one about me almost breaking my back while we were there. But...
Well, wow, I don't want to hear those stories. I want to hear those stories. Okay, and you know, what else can you use as a tool? Right, you can smudge around with your stump. Those things have... So metal has a tendency of kind of being dark overall and having really bright highlight, but the highlight, the metal generally darkens pretty quick outside the highlight. And that's a characteristic of metal. And again, it's all a little bit different. You'll have to see, is it smooth? Is it ground? Is it bent up? Right? But just start paying attention and you can see the qualities for yourself. They're right there in front of us. Uh-oh, was that it? I think that's our 5 minutes, guys.
Oh, that's it for that one.
Oh, I thought you meant like that's it for the broadcast. I was like, they can't go that quick.
You are lost in art. You're lost in art. All right, so the third of our four. You guys getting warmed up now? Getting warmed up? Do you guys see that light traveling through there? Almost like an S. The bottom, up the bottom, through the leaves, up through the vase, and then out through the leaves again. So for those of you that are open to it, why not try to draw that light shape? Right? And for light to have a shape without, it's got to have shadow. Right? Without shadow, light's got no structure, no substance.
None.
None. Nothing. Get a little bit of nothing in your painting. And it'll be more mysterious.
Nada.
I'm Grandma's sidekick.
She's my sidekick. Yeah. Well, that's a better word. I tend to think of it as partner in crime, but let's go with sidekick. At least for our public-facing audience. Okay, so massing in, and then I tend to get my shadows, and then I'll tend to go in and put my air in. So, but again, not strict finding. Here I felt like I had the neck too long, so I came back in and shortened that out. And we don't have a ton of time to spend with quote-unquote correct drawing. Right? Get it as close as you can, but move on. Again, it's kind of best if you work on the whole rather than a single piece. Okay, so try to get the action of the whole. For those of you that are really advanced, make sure this thing happens on a gesture, on a movement. What I like to call an eye path. E-Y-E. Eye, like the eyes you see with. Path. In other words, how are you going to take the viewer through your painting? Right? You got to give them an eye trail. And it's got to be exciting. Got to go down by the pond and up through the garden and let them see the vista that overlooks the valley. Right? Maybe through the little closed forest. Give them an experience. Give them an experience.
I might not have room for the third one.
You're running. Izzy says she's running out of room. You can do it. You're in charge. You're the boss. You're the boss. You can tell it how big or small to be.
When am I not the boss?
Oh, brother. 6th grade. 6th grade. Here we go. Young, confident, strong lady. Young, strong, confident lady. I like it. I like it. I like it.
I like it, but not a lot.
Sue got here. Oh, I'm sorry, Sue. She had a little trouble getting on. It's great to see you. And remember, you can always go back later if you'd like to do this and you didn't make it in time. Today we're doing 4 5 minutes, and this is our third 5-minute sketch right here, Sue. So those highlights as they follow the quarter. Oh no, Claudia ran out of room too, Izzy. Claudia ran out of room on hers too.
Twins.
That's funny. Okay, so it can be a little bit odd at first trying to do these translations of these objects into light shadow shapes. But remember, we've got to remember what we're working with, right? That's a piece of white charcoal, white chalk. It can't do a leaf. It can't paint a nose. It can't even paint snow. But it can make white marks. And the way I make those white marks can make them whiter or lighter or grayer or hard-edged or soft-edged. And the same with my charcoal. We can make dark marks. And that 5 minutes is up. They go by fast, don't they?
Boom.
At least that's how I felt when I was doing them. Okay. So here's one of my favorites.
That's the
I don't
guy
believe
with the
I've-
super long sleeve.
He's a super long, right? Yeah. He's got a big robe to fill. Looks like he still needs to grow into it a little bit, huh? All right, can you clearly see that light pattern? I photographed it like this when I did so that you could see that light pattern. But the problem is now that you see that, the dark and the gray kind of merge together as one. So we got to pull that shadow out from the background by making it stronger. How you doing? Come on, you gotta at least attempt it.
I am trying to figure that out.
You're trying to figure it out?
I must watch.
Okay. 5 minutes, no thinking, just drawing. We used to have to do 30 seconds figure poses.
Oh my gosh.
30 seconds.
That
We usually did 20 to 25 minutes at a time before the model got the break. And so we'd do a whole first session was 30 seconds. Then we'd go to 1 minute. And we'd end with 2-minute poses.
That model was like,
Yeah. they were moving, man. They were moving.
got no time.
They were moving and we were sighing. A lot of sighs. But it's good because it teaches you to look quickly and try to see the big thing quickly. You don't have time to see the details on these short poses. And that's the idea here too. But, most of us aren't these young whippersnappers. Most of us. So we're taking 5 minutes instead of 30 seconds. A little more leisurely pace. a little more leisurely pace.
How do you only have like half an oval and yet it looks like a face?
A half what?
An oval. The head.
Because I see the big shapes, dude. See the big stuff.
But still, how does it look like
Because a head, an oval, will represent a face faster than a nose will. And again, you want to leave room for that viewer. The viewer's like, I want to come party. I want to come party.
That's when you close the door.
I'll bring the pineapple.
It's a fruit party.
All right.
That just looks like
Right.
a really weird snowman.
It's all right. It's all right. Just, hey, you gotta remember, I've been doing this for a long, long time. Don't get discouraged, people. You're just taking a walk. You're just taking a walk. Okay? But hopefully you see the detail isn't really what makes the things appear. Right? It's the big shapes. The big shapes. So this is happening in the reference, but also it's an important point. You see that white goes right up against that dark grape? Well, that's going to have a lot of impact there, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. I wanted the grape to be impactful.
I need to get a picture of that when you guys do that. That's hilarious.
Again, the negative shape is very, very important in describing what's happening there. Okay, so what it ends up is knowing when to work on the inside, when to work on the outside, right? There's the inside and there's the outside of shapes. And again, always look at your overall movement. You're always drawing and painting that movement. If you're at that level, if you're not at that level yet, don't worry about it. Throw some marks down and have a good time. Have a good time, or get frustrated. I know people used to say that to me, and I just stare daggers at them. A good time, I'm so frustrated. I've been trying to do this. I just can't figure it out. Well, if that's your jam, be frustrated. But stick with it.
Wow,
Stick
you
with
sound
it.
like me in school.
You're good. Yes, Izzy has got a little bit of my
Intensity.
intensity. Is that what we're calling it? That's a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good word. That's a good word. Right, the poet's got a different kind of intensity. Right? Intensity of vision. At least that's what I strive for. Right? I was never really into the illustration thing, but the poetry. The poetry. If we're to be specific, the mystical poetry. Can that be a jam?
Sure. It's called that.
That's my jam. Okay, how you guys doing? How you guys? And you see, as the things get more complicated, it just takes a little longer to do. It took me a lot longer to work on that shadow and get that shadow established than it did my orange, right? But it's the same principle. Same principle. Nothing but pencils moving. I love it. Good job, guys. So we've got another minute on this one. And then if you guys don't let me forget, we will rewind and look at these things.
We can't wait to see everybody's sketches.
Yes, please, if you feel like sharing, we'd love to see the sketches in your comments. You can post them in the comments on this page. And I believe the page set up so you can also just post it as a post on this page. But mention Sketch Club if you do. If you make it in the comments, everybody will know it's about Sketch Club. All right, we love to see what you guys are doing. And it'll also inform my commentary a bit. You know, what should I talk about? Besides my jam being mystical poetry, which I'm sure we can get on a more interesting subject than that. I don't know how many viewers we're going to get with that subject matter. But that's always me running away from the crowds. The party's that way? All right, I'll be going in this direction.
So bye.
Have a good time.
So how did you guys do? How's it looking? Should we rewind a little bit and see how we did?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. We got 2 votes for yes, and since those are the only ones I can hear, I guess those are the ones that count. So,
Everybody else is too busy sketching.
yeah, let's go all the way back, and then we'll go through each one maybe twice. Okay, so for the orange, oops, notice size and placement, just kind of massing in, filling it out, giving myself a chance to get warmed up, parentheses to find the limits of it, and then I can start, once I feel decent about that, then I can start, okay, this is going to be my shadow, and then get that shadow shape in there. Notice that shadow shape. You see it's actually a dark shape that encompasses grape, cast shadow on the table, cast shadow from the grape onto the orange, the form shadow of the orange, and the cast shadow of the orange are all a single shape. Uno. Not two. One.
Did you just say uno, not two?
Mm-hmm.
You mean dos.
Okay, and then the second you get that highlight on there, man, a lot. And then if I get a little air behind that, we're going to have a 3-dimensional object. And our air is going to be darker than our light, which is the tone of the paper, and lighter than our dark, which is the black. So as I put that in there, I put it in with some lighter charcoal, then I rub it in. Okay, does that make sense? So that's my basic methodology. Mass it in. We can contain it, but not all the way around. We want to keep things open. And then we can start with the shadow shape. Boom. I like to jump to the finish, get the little highlight on there so I can see the rest of it, and then the background. So we've done this with 4 values: the tone of the paper, the highlight's lighter, the air is darker than the tone of the paper, and the shadow or the dark is darker than that. Okay. So now again, I'm just kind of massing it in, getting the overall volume and overall shape. And if the shapes are more complicated, it may take a few times through to kind of get it. But then I want my darks in there, right? Because that's the structure. That shadow creates the structure, right? You can almost see the things before the light's in there, just with the shadow. And if the shadow can do all that work, then you can have your light do a beautiful dance across your paper. Okay, so you see how everything has its place, the dark, the gray, and this time just because of time and everything, but that whole thing is a dark against a lighter background, right?
Interesting.
So that changes sometimes, and I don't know if I had kept it if I had more time to work, but I don't, and so it'd be an interesting thing to consider. Mm-hmm. Okay, so massing in. Well, I didn't even mass in. How I actually start. Oops. I gave it a little bit of game away here. I start with the movement. Do you see that movement? And that movement is how I want the viewer to travel through. Mass in. Do the darks. And that's all we got time for. And again, that acts as a dark against a lighter background right now. But the highlight is lighter than the paper, right? And then the rest of this is darker. So For that reason, it comes forward off the background. Okay, here, a general movement across, and then I'm working across, in and out with my darks. Gonna put little lights in there. Just to make sure my darks are in the right place, and then go back to my darks. And that's all we got time for, apparently.
And bam. Done.
There we go. So that's all I got for. So sometimes you don't finish it all, and that's okay. You just move on. But it's that exercise of doing it. All right, so we went a few minutes over tonight, but hopefully everybody's good with that. So we'll be back Tuesday for 2 10-minute, and then Thursday for 1 20-minute. Yeah, there you go. 2 5s. Boom. All right, so thanks for joining us, everybody. So I guess we could go full screen to see you out. Appreciate everybody. Have a good start to your week. For those of you in class, I'm planning on going live in our private Facebook group, Connecting at the Easel, tomorrow at 9, and doing an oil color study in oil. So I hope you can join us. If not, that'll be there for you when you have a chance to catch it. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye, Susan.